like your back, Josh?
What's that, sorry?
Like your back?
Yeah, oh, yes, I'd like to think so, but you can never get too comfortable in this game. As I found out, you can quickly find yourself out of the side. So, but to answer your question, it was pleasing to play well in such a good win.
As someone who's been in the team or been playing regular AFL football for a while, how did you react and how did you find it when you got told you'd been dropped for last week's game?
I wouldn't say it caught me completely off guard. I knew I hadn't been playing great, and the team as well hadn't been performing to its optimum as well. So whenever that happens, there needs to be some change. So there was two ways you can go about it. You can either sulk and potentially spend a sustained period back in the SANFL, or you can do what I did and just get stuck in and try and have a really good attitude about it. It was got to play a game with probably 12 guys I've never played with, so I just tried to have as good an attitude as I could, play well, play the way the coaches wanted me to, and I knew that would get me back in the side pretty quickly. What
were those things that you were trying to work on last week?
I just needed to play with a bit more energy, intensity. I probably underestimated the impact that missing sort of 5 weeks of training had on me. I probably took for granted the fact I would come back in the AFL, or come back at AFL level and play really well. It sometimes doesn't happen that way. So it was a nice little circuit breaker for me to go back to the SANFL, play with a little bit less pressure on my shoulders and just go and have a run around, and that's probably exactly what I needed.
How did you rate your performance on Saturday night? 3 goals?
Yeah, I was pretty happy. It was probably the elements that the coaches wanted, and the reason I went back was probably at their best on the weekend, tackling and particularly my ruck work. So I was pretty pleased with those things. I know that when the team's playing well and when I'm going well, I'll always contribute to the scoreboard. So it was great to be able to tackle and impact the game in that way.
It's easy to forget that sort of tackling stuff as a big fool, and you get in the arse, and that's what's helped you out. Yeah,
I think so. So you never underestimate how hard the game is, and whenever you're not playing with your regular energy and effort, things like that can fall away quickly. So it's important to keep those kinds of things front of mind. And quickly focus on the wrong things, which are probably marks and goals, and get back to doing the team things and doing the things that allow the marks and goals to follow.
How much did that rib injury affect when you came back with the sort of the contact stuff and that sort of confidence with the tackling and pressure and flying?
Yeah, I probably played the first game really aware of it, and then I started to feel a little bit better and better. But I was pretty reliant. I was pretty reliant on trying to move around a lot instead of really playing as a tall forward and contesting high balls and things like that. I was still really wary of the soreness and the fact that if I got hit, I might be re-injure it. So it took some time, but as I said, probably the SANFL game was the first time I've played pretty much pain-free with it, and that was great. So I've been able to pretty much put it to the side and get on with it now.
You get to raise a bat this weekend, Josh?
Yeah, it's 28, so some guys have played 190 games that are the same age, but it took a bit of a different route to AFL. So when I was at Essendon, I just wanted to play one game because I thought to myself, no one can ever take it away from me. So to play 100's a great thrill, and same thing, no one can ever take it away from me.
Do you reflect on that? Do you reflect on the way that you got here, and you look back and think, well, it is a great achievement. You've obviously got 4 or 5 years left.
Yeah, all the time. I always try and be pretty reflective and try and be pretty thankful for where I'm at, considering where I was probably 7, 8 years ago. Basically banging my head against a brick wall on a basketball court, not doing too much. So really thankful for my time in the AFL.
Josh, you just mentioned about the SANFL, and that was the first time you sort of felt pain-free with the ribs. Did you then sort of come back a bit too soon then? Like, should you spend a couple more weeks on the sidelines?
I think anyone who's had a rib injury is probably the most difficult one to deal with, and to know exactly how it feels. Hamstrings and soft tissues are straightforward. When you don't play until there's no awareness at all. But I guess with a rib or an impact injury, you've got to expect to play with some level of soreness and pain. But it wasn't until you can only replicate game so much at training and fitness tests, and that it wasn't until I got out there that I probably realised it was still lingering and still affecting me. And it probably wasn't the fact, it wasn't physically restricting me. It was probably that 5% emotionally that you're thinking about it at this top level. It's too much.
How bad was it at the start? You look like you're in a lot of pain.
Yeah, it was instantly. Instantly, it was no good, and took a while for us to work out exactly what was going on as well. So that that was a bit frustrating for a week or so, that we just weren't too sure exactly what it was. And I guess regardless, I knew that it was pretty serious, and the doctors here were of the same opinion that it was pretty serious. So. Being really lucky, I have to be pretty thankful. I've only had 2 really, I guess what you'd call serious injuries or times where I've missed footy. So, whilst it was serious and annoying at that time, I've been really lucky.
And Geelong this week, I don't think the club's won there since 2003. How much of a fillip is that, or how much do you use that as motivation to try and tick that box?
Yeah, I'd like to. I hope we build this game up a fair bit. I'm really keen to get down there and get stuck into those guys who've played. They play that ground extremely well. As you said, we've had in different form down there. So I think it's time for us to go down there and really play a really good game and show that we're a real contender, because I think we've obviously shown our best football is as good as anyone. So to go down on someone else's home ground, another contender, and win would be a great statement.
I know you're good mates with Paddy, but have you had a chance to see and reflect how well he's playing, and a couple of cheeky texts this week?
Yeah, we've already got the text messages going back and forth. So I'm always keen to watch him play, and we've had those guys get the prime time every week, so we've been able to watch him the past few weeks. So he's playing sensational football, and we'll be under no illusions that he's an important player for us to take care of. But hopefully the strength of numbers that we have will win out.
Do you reckon Rory goes head to head with him, or? I
think Rory would. I think those 2 boys would love that. We all would love that, and those 2 boys would love nothing more than the butt heads for 4 quarters. So I dare say, if it's not a direct matchup, you'll see it at some stage.
When you say you want it to be built up, it's obviously probably the game of the season so far. It's turned out to be. What about the build-up do you want to see?
I just enjoy. I think I just enjoy. Guys, athletes, competitors enjoy when games are built up and games are huge. And it's no disrespect to any other game you play, but you sort of play your whole career to play in big games and finals and things like that. So I think it's first against third. We're going to their ground, so there's plenty of reasons to build it up and be excited about it. And I don't think you should hide from that. Not
many people have that perspective, though. A lot of guys tend to think, well, we'll just leave it to game day and just try and get through the week.
Yeah, almost. I think just live in the real world. It's a big game. It's going to be a big game. So let's embrace it. There's no point shying away from the fact. There's nothing to be ashamed of. It's exciting. You'd rather be playing first v third on Friday night than 17th v 18th Sunday night.
Do you feel like you guys are now turning around after 2 big wins in the last fortnight?
Yeah, I wouldn't say. Obviously, I missed a bit of footy, and then played in those 2 losses. And I just would prefer to tip my hat to the opposition. I just honestly believe that we've seen that teams that are off get embarrassed and get shown up, and that's what happened to us. And the reality is there is an opposition out there, and we want to play our way, and they want to play their way. And sometimes, the other team comes with a plan and executes it much better, and that's what we've seen can happen across the league. It doesn't matter who's playing who. So we understand, to answer your question exactly, we understand exactly what works for us, and when we go to it like we did on the weekend, we get the results.
Who wins the NBA Finals?
I think the Cavs will win. I'm hopeful anyway. I don't think they will. I'm hopeful, sorry.